Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 9 of my 30 Days of Transformation live series. Super excited to be here with you guys today for day 9. Happy Saturday to those of you that are checking in live. Make sure that you say hi. Today, I wanted to talk to you about superhighways. And this is a concept that I was introduced to a couple of weeks ago by the amazing Juliette Lever from Relaunch My Life. And she's the beautiful lady that I did my NLP practitioner training through. So, what I want to really show you guys today is that our thoughts are like a superhighway. And the more we think a thought, the more we think a thought. Okay? So, the way that we think about something, it is most easy for us to just continue to think about something that same way. And this is the superhighway analogy, right? So we live our life zooming down the superhighway that we have been going down our whole life every day, having the same thoughts over and over again, heading down the superhighway. It's big, it's wide, the road surface is good, it's an easy travel, you can go super fast. And so it is the easy road to take. And we just continue on down that road, down that road, down that road, down that road, thinking the same thing, thinking the same thing, thinking the same thing. And the problem is that sometimes that superhighway is not headed in the direction of where we actually want to go. And we're actually only on that superhighway because it's become a habit. It's become the way that we think about something. So let's use an example that is pertinent to this group, right? So you might have the thought, social media is time consuming, okay? And so all the way down, you're just thinking, it's time consuming, it's time consuming, it's time consuming, it's time consuming. And so what happens is, because that's the way that you think about something, because that's the superhighway, that's the what's on repeat, that's the habit that you've created in your thought patterns, you are literally just going to see social media as time consuming. And your brain is set up to delete, distort, or generalize any information that comes in that is not in line with that superhighway, with that thought that social media is time consuming. And so everywhere you look as you're driving down that highway, you are just seeing information that reaffirms the fact that social media is time consuming. What I need you to know is you can get off that superhighway. You can think differently about anything. And the analogy is that if you want to get off that superhighway, you basically have to build an exit and a road of your own. And that's a bit of a process, okay? So firstly, you might break a hole in the wall of the superhighway, and then you might lay a bit of a dirt track leading away from that superhighway and towards what you've realized you actually want. And I talked yesterday a lot about 2 days ago, about what do you want and what do you not want, okay? And about the fact that our brain is always looking in the positive sense, okay? Our subconscious is looking for the positive. So you break a hole in that wall and you get an excavator and you smash through the trees and you start to create this dirt track towards what you want. And then over time, as you start to travel along that road instead of the superhighway over and over again, you start to lay the foundations of a proper road. You start to get the water courses worked out and the tunnels put in. You start to lay the first layer of gravel, and then you layer some concrete and some tar. I'm not 100% sure exactly how you build a road, but you basically start to build that road. And so eventually you build that new way of thinking in as your new superhighway. And that becomes the habit. That becomes the new way of thinking about something. So in this situation, and for a lot of people in this community and a lot of my clients, the superhighway is that social media is time consuming. And what I'm asking them to do is to smash through the wall of that superhighway and create a road and build a road that social media can be easy. I can have a plan for social media that allows me to execute it succinctly and quickly. I can create systems around social media that means that it doesn't suck all of my time. But all of those things require you to think differently. And if you're still ramming on down that original superhighway of social media is time consuming, it can be very hard to smash through the wall, get off, and start to build your own road. I kind of liken what I do for a lot of my clients as helping them and supporting them to build that new road. Okay, to build the road of the belief that actually serves them to get where it is that they want to go. Because if they want to build a thriving brand on social media, the belief that social media is time consuming is not a constructive belief. Einstein once said that you cannot solve the problem by thinking the way you were thinking when you created the problem. Paraphrasing, of course, right? And what he means by that is if you're still on that superhighway, ramming down that superhighway, you are not going to be able to come up with the solution to social media is time consuming. Because you are ramming on down the superhighway, you've been going down for a long time, thinking the same thoughts about social media being time consuming, and absolutely looking around and filtering everything that it has to be time consuming. Meanwhile, I'm over here building a new old road, and I love that road because for me, social media is not time consuming. It's not time consuming at all. I have complete control over the amount of time that I spend on social media, as do you. And you have complete control about the way you think about something, but it's easy to stay on the superhighway. I know you did, Jane. Absolutely. It is easy to stay on that superhighway. What you need to do though is you need to upgrade your belief systems to support the outcomes that you're looking for. You need to pave a new road with new beliefs that work for you and for what you're doing. And then you need to cultivate that road and you need to spend time on that road and you need to think the way that that road needs you to think and leave the superhighway behind. It's all about habits. It's all about the fact that we're in a rut and we think the same way. And in a lot of places in our life, that is really, really helpful. Have you ever driven your kids to school and then got to school and they're getting out of the car, giving them a kiss goodbye, saying, have a great day, love you, all those kinds of things. And then you're like, I don't actually know how I got here. I think I drove here. Fairly certain I stopped and checked both ways at the roundabout. Fairly certain I used my indicator when I turned right into this street. But I'm not 100% sure. And that's because the route to school is a superhighway. You can literally just get in the car and drive there without really having to think, because driving happens for you on autopilot. It is a way of thinking. You are just ramming down your superhighway, thinking the way that you always think, working in kind of a state of really not being conscious of what you're doing. We all live in states like that all the time when it comes to everything that we do every day. And to be able to change the way that we think about something, we have to be conscious of the way we think about it. And then we really need to decide if it's serving us, if it's moving us closer to the destination that we want to be going to. And if it's not, you are going to need to bust a wall in the side of that superhighway and start building that dirt road from scratch. Start thinking a different way, just like Einstein said, in order to create a solution to that problem. So I wanted to share that with you guys today because I know that over the last few days I've shared quite a few concepts, and some of you might have been thinking, oh, I'm not really sure that 100% has much to do with what I'm doing in terms of my business. But they were all really laying the foundation for me to be able to share more with you about how this shows up for us in our business. And I wanted to be able to share with you today that most of us are stuck on a superhighway with our way of thinking, but you don't have to be. It's a conscious choice to get off and do things differently. And there is absolutely mindset tools and techniques that you can use to help build that new road faster and more effectively, but also to put up some blockades on that original superhighway to make it difficult to travel down. That is some of the things that I can now do using NLP and timeline therapy. They're things that I've done with my practitioners over the years to move my way of thinking from a way that served me when I worked a job and, took care of my children as my highest priority. But then I had to change my way of thinking as I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I wanted to become a business owner. I wanted to move away from a 9 to 5. I wanted to parent my children differently to the ways that I had seen before me. I had to upgrade my way of thinking to get me to the destination that I wanted to get to. So I would love you to share and let me know, are you upgrading your belief systems, or are you holding on to some that are really, really old? And maybe just like Einstein said, you're trying to create the solution to the problem with the same way of thinking that created the problem, when really what we need to do is upgrade our way of thinking. All right, I'd love to hear your comments below. Let me know if this resonates with you, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for day 10. Bye.